is the Glass Cannon Network.
It's that time again. Welcome back to the Game Garage, where we play a tabletop role-playing game while I'm inside my garage. This week, again, we are playing the incredible TimeWatch by Kevin Culp from Pelgrane Press. Kevin, thank you for writing this incredible game. And with me, as I had last time, I have three amazing players: Paula Deming, Mary Lou, and the Glass Cannon's own Joe O'Brien. What's up, guys?
What's up? Jared!
Also,
Hi, Jared.
I'd like to say thanks, Kevin. Thanks, Kevin.
We're having a lot of fun playing your game.
Yeah. He's a talented man, Kevin Culp, and it's a great game. You can go ahead to the Pelgrane website. You can put in a code where you buy the book there on the website. You can put in Glass Cannon. You can get 10% off TimeWatch merchandise. So please go and do that, especially if you enjoy what you are about to see here, what you saw here last week. Speaking of last week, it was the Cuban. It's a time travel game. You're agents of a time police unit. You were sent back to the Cuban Missile Crisis and thrown on board a Soviet submarine. And I had this incredible scenario planned. It's actually from a published scenario by Kevin. I presented this scenario, and then Paula told us, "Oh, I know about all of this."
I was so excited. I was like, oh, I know this story.
How do you keep the adventure from the players when it's part of historical record? That's the...
I don't think you do, is the answer. Well, I was sitting there like, okay, what does Paula know versus what does Dakota know? Paula might know more than Dakota, but then I was like, but Dakota is trained. Dakota probably actually knows more than Paula.
That's right. And that's absolutely true. Wait, but Paula knows because now I'm just talking about everybody in the third person, but Paula knows.
Paula knows.
Paula knows.
Because you have a podcast. You have a historical podcast?
I have a podcast. Well, sort of. It's called Death by Monsters. It's all about monsters, mysteries, and the unknown. And so we talk about cryptids and hauntings and weird historical mysteries. So sometimes we do episodes that are more history-based, and very recently, we actually did an episode about Vasily Arkhipov and how he's the man who saved the world. And so I
what's
learned
the mystery?
all about this.
Or is he a cryptid?
Well, did he
Many say he might have been Bigfoot.
That's where he went.
Very hard to get photos of him. He's actually a very good-looking man, I think. Oh. But... or at least the guy who played him in the reenactment video I watched was very good looking. So for a long time, people didn't actually know this happened because he didn't talk about it.
Yeah.
Because when they returned from Russia after having not fired this nuclear missile,
when they returned from Cuba to Russia. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
To the Soviet Union, yeah.
They were kind of shamed for it. And so he didn't talk about it. And then it was like, I think a few years after his death, like very recently the whole story came out. But yeah, he was in charge of like this fleet. I think it was like 3 submarines that were sent out. And it was one of those things where it's like, you aren't even getting your mission until you're like,
right.
To a certain location.
You open your orders underwater.
You see
like
what
when
it
you're
is.
already,
And don't call us, we'll call you. So they're like stuck in this situation, not allowed to like reach out and find out what's going on. And they're running out of power, which is why our submarine is so hot when we arrived there, because they like have everything is too hot and they've been under the water for all this time. They need to surface to recharge their like generator or whatever. But if they surface, they get spotted, they go back down. And the Americans, if I'm remembering correctly, are like shooting little pulses at them to tell them to
depth charges?
Yeah.
To rise. But the signal that Americans use to, hey, surface is not the same as the signal that the Russians use. The Russians don't know what's going on, and they don't know if they're being attacked or what. So they're all like, we should fire. And Vasily Arkhipov, who was on, I'm nerding out now. You should listen to the episode because it's better than what I'm telling you. But he was on the K-19 Widowmaker. I don't know if you're familiar with this at all. I believe Harrison Ford was in a movie of it, but
I'm not familiar, but it sounds scary.
It is. So
Well, it's definitely the worst movie title of all time. K-19, The Widowmaker.
no spoilers in that title.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it was a nuclear submarine that had like a malfunction go down, and some people had to like go in and basically sacrifice themselves to fix like the nuclear reactor.
Wait, this is a separate incident?
This is a separate incident. This happened earlier.
He was also on that sub?
Yes. And I think this is
guy
why
can't catch a break.
he stopped this missile firing, because he saw the horrible consequences of what happened on this nuclear submarine and knew what might happen if they fired these nuclear weapons. And I personally think that's why he was like, you know what? No, we're not doing this mess. And he told them no. He was the one in charge of all the submarines out on this mission. And he was like, no, we're not doing this. He's a hero. He saved the world.
Literally saved the world.
Except in our history, it's actually Imogene Dupree who saved the world. Because
no problem, folks. Just doing my job.
No thanks necessary. Oh my god.
Yeah, because
Anyway,
Vasily
sorry, I got
Arkhipov
really
had been
excited.
replaced. He'd been replaced by a shape-shifting
By a bug?
insect? Question
don't
mark
like
of some
it.
sort.
It's just amazing. Jared, I think that your problem here is when you put the cast together, you just have to make sure you fill it with real dumb people that don't know anything about history.
Right.
But Paula comes in, it's just like, wham! Like has the whole thing. Man, that's incredible.
I felt really smart.
Yeah, I never heard that story. That's an incredible story.
I love that story.
Fascinating.
Look,
And
I can improvise. During this little mini campaign we're playing, if Paula just instantly knows the answer to the entire scenario and wants to jump straight to that, no problem. We can just wrap one up in about a half an hour and then move on to the next adventure.
I don't
Actually,
know.
why not?
He's been taken over by a bug. I can't, who knows what's going to happen now?
Right, yeah. I mean, you're right. History has been altered, and that's what TimeWatch sets out to correct in all of their adventures. They try to go back, find out how history has been illegally changed, and change it back to the true history, the way it should be. Are you guys ready to play? Should we jump in?
Let's
I'm
do
so
it.
ready.
Yeah.
Let's do this.
I didn't want to stop last week. I was like,
I know, right?
I know.
no, I'm about to fight this thing. Come on.
I'm about to possibly die.
Well,
How
I
do you
have
stop?
good news for you. You're about to fight a strange giant insect in a supply closet. Because when we last left our heroes, they had clocked in. That's what they call it when they time travel to a location. They clocked in to the B-59 submarine off the coast of Cuba. They determined that Vasily Arkhipov, the man we'd just been talking about with Paula, had been replaced or was somehow acting oddly, because in this new timeline, he was advocating for a nuclear strike. They very cleverly, or maybe somewhat accidentally, got the three commanders to leave the room by shutting down the communications equipment on the bridge.
What was accidental about that? That was all clever. That was 100% clever.
I don't think that you knew it would make them leave the bridge, but
Correct.
That's true.
It very conveniently made them leave the bridge.
We thought it would make them go, I guess we can't fire the nukes, and then just go home.
And then just stop. Yeah, exactly.
That's exactly what you thought. I knew that's what you thought, but it turns out it was even more clever than that. You were smarter than you were. So the three commanders left the bridge to go to the weapons room to deliver the order verbally, and when they did that, you were very, very quick, very stealthy, and you were able to use Imogene Dupree's disguise expertise. Imogene Dupree has a disguise of 8, and she was able to hack her impersonator match to look exactly like Arkhipov, while Dakota, played by Paula, and Captain Pate, played by Joe, were able to grab the imposter Arkhipov, this Arkhipov that was already there, and drag him into a supply closet. Imogene, in a moment of incredible oratory excellence.
This is something, I'm sorry, I could not get out of my head after last week's session. I kept just hearing Imogene in the 1920s Brooklyn accent talking to this room filled with Soviet soldiers and just telling them, like, any of the reasons that they can't do this, and them all just being like, wow, like you're right on. And I just love the translator thing that like it makes it sound like that to them, but to me, I hear this flapper girl talking to them all and talking them down. It was amazing.
Evangelize.
I realized later that my like favorite line that I said that I was so proud of myself for, where I said, "Dying is easy, living is harder." That's just a line from Hamilton. I was like, why does that sound so familiar? But anyway.
But she's a time traveler, so she learned it from the actual Alexander Hamilton.
There you go. Exactly.
Imogene managed to convince the captain, Captain Valentin Savitsky, to stand down, to not fire the weapon. And while she was doing that, Dakota and Captain Pate secured the imposter in the supply closet, but that's when he started transforming. A piece of his face falls off and a huge clacking mandible breaks free. Suddenly his forehead bulges and two huge antennae burst forth. He's growing and ripping out of the skin suit as you watch. That's where we're going to begin today. And so you're in a dark supply closet. You don't have really good visibility. You're in a very cramped quarters, and this thing is suddenly becoming big. Like the shelves, everything's getting knocked off the shelves. Canisters of like oxygen are getting knocked over, and it's already up against you, Dakota and Captain Pate. Like you feel limbs reaching out and grabbing at you already. We are going to do something called Popcorn Initiative. That's how initiative works in TimeWatch. That means I'm going to choose one of you to be the first person to go in the initiative order. Then you are going to choose who goes next. If you only choose people on your own side and you let the enemy wait till the very end, that means the enemy gets to choose who goes first in the next round, and they may get to act twice. Does that make sense?
It does make sense.
Interesting.
Yes.
Well, how come you get to choose who starts it?
Well, that's just kind of how it works, and generally the.
But I'm sorry. My question really is: you're not representing the wants of the enemy in that choice. Like you're not representing.
No, I won't ever go. It's the enemy first. I'm always supposed to choose that the players go first, unless they're surprised. I'm not going to call you surprised in this case because you kind of had him captured. You kind of shoved him in there, and then he started transforming slowly. So you've had a moment to react to what's going on, and so I will say that Captain Pate may go first, and then after Captain Pate has acted, he may. Well, actually, the first thing you do, Captain Pate, is you say who's going to go next, and then you state your action, which can include a movement. Okay. So it's not only can you do something, you can move, of course. So Captain Pate, who will go next after you? Will it be the cockroach or Dakota?
I'll say the cockroach will go next.
Okay, very good.
We'll just try this out. Not give it any control. Let us keep the control, but still let it go. I mean, it's really on me right now. I'm holding it, so I feel like if it's going to hurt anybody, it's going to hurt me and not Dakota. So I'm fine with it going next. Now, I don't really know what to do in terms of move. I think that what his natural inclination is to just like, okay, let me ask you this. Does Captain Pate know what this thing is? Like, has he seen these creatures before in his experience of being a time cop? Are they frequent criminals of the timeline?
What ability is he using?
Experience. No, I don't know. God damn it.
Do you have authority?
I do have authority. I have good authority. I have it on good authority that I should know the answer to this. I could be research. Does he research his enemies? Is that what research does in this game?
I think that probably wouldn't tell him what this thing is. I think Captain Pate has no idea. If TimeWatch knows, they haven't told Captain Pate. So, you do not have a clue.
Okay, so then he's going to go with pure gut instinct, which is fight for survival. So he's going to try to rip one of its arms right off of it, basically. So he's in like a grapple right now, so he's going to try to, tear at the creature's joints as much as possible.
Okay, very good. Okay. Go ahead and make a scuffling test and tell me how many points you're spending from your scuffling.
I'm not sure how this all works yet in the grand scheme.
I can explain.
No, that's okay. I mean, I know the mechanics. I'm saying, like, I need to play the game to understand a little bit better when to spend points and when not to. So right now, I'm going to spend none. I'm just going to roll it.
Okay.
And let's see what happens.
I mean, if we all die before you've spent any of your points, then I guess that's possibly a lesson we'll all learn.
I did already spend 2 of my scuffling to get him in here and give Imogene the chance to impersonate him. So I'm already, I've used 1/3 of my total stock for the whole mission. So I'm going to try to just roll here.
We have time, I think, to if we need to buff something else in this situation with points. I feel like we have time to do it. I support
Dakota
your choice.
has a gun. So
that's right.
Right. And the other thing is, I'm forgetting that I can rest and get this back, not the whole mission, right?
Right.
So this is
some
the
of
whole mission.
Some of your general abilities refresh after 24 hours of rest. You can also spend a stitch at any time to regenerate 2 points to a general ability.
Right. And we gave Imogene a stitch for the plagiarized speech from Hamilton.
Yes, we did.
Yes. We give stitches around here for plagiarism. All right, I'm rolling. I rolled a 4.
A 4 is a success.
Nice.
You just rip his arm off?
Well, I don't. It was for flavor, Jared. You say. I'd say what he's trying to do. I guess you could say what it does in terms of the damage.
Yeah, you're gonna roll a d6, and since you're just using the kind of a hand-to-hand thing, I'm gonna say I'm gonna rule -1. So d6 -1.
Okay, d6 -1
Roll
damage.
good.
I rolled a 4 again, so 3 points.
So you did
of
3
damage.
points of damage.
Nice.
He feels something like crunch in the joint where one of this creature's arms are.
Yeah, and a little bit of weird kind of bile-y fluid kind of oozes
Like
out
an
onto
ichor?
Captain Pate. And ichor oozes onto Captain Pate's hands as he does this. The thing, though, has now fully gotten rid of its human skin, and it lumbers before you, but it's too dark in here to fully see it. Maybe there's a little light overhead that's swinging because that's appropriately dramatic.
There definitely is that.
You can see that what you're
feels
looking at is
cinematic.
definitely a gigantic cockroach. It is its turn, correct?
Correct.
And it turns its full ire toward Captain Pate and knows that it must deal with him first. And so it attacks Captain Pate with its horrible clacking claws. Hideous clacking pincers is what we're calling it.
Okay.
And I know how much it's spending.
I know how much it's spending.
Your hit threshold is 3, right? Well, it only rolled a 1, but it spent 3 to attack you.
You wanted to guarantee it on the old Captain Pate. All right.
Yes, and so it does damage, but it is not a human with little fleshy hands. It has hideous clacking pincers, so it's going to roll damage +2.
Oh, no.
It just did 4 damage to Captain Pate.
Sorry, question.
Yes.
Pool. Is there a health pool, or is it just current health and max health?
It is just current health and max health.
So you never spend health points to do anything,
You
right?
do sometimes spend health points. For example, if I had a creature trying to stun you and you didn't want to go unconscious, you might spend health points when you roll to resist stun.
Ah, okay.
But those are also points that count toward whether you go down or not, right? Like they are also your current and max health. So Captain Pate, you are now down to 6 health, if I'm not mistaken.
That is correct. Oh, that's almost half his health in one shot.
Yeah.
So I imagine it's just like tears at his shoulder, and you just see blood start seeping through this thick black heavy coat that he wears.
Yes, and it's chittering, but through the chittering, its face gets right up against yours, and the little mandibles are all clacking together, and you hear like,
We meet again, Captain Pate.
We meet again?
and then that is when it is Dakota's. Well, I'm sorry, I should have had the insect state who was next, but there's only one option. It is Dakota's turn.
Could I hear this statement that the cockroach just made to Captain Pate, or is that quiet enough that it was just to Captain Pate?
I think you could hear it.
Okay. How tall is... Like, are shelves at all above? Is there anything above the cockroach, or is it so tall that there's nothing that, say, could fall off of a shelf onto the cockroach and, like, say, knock it unconscious or something?
I would love to help you out there, but I would say you're in a submarine, so it's not really that.
Right.
there aren't high ceilings here.
It's filling like the whole space.
This thing is a little bit cramped in here. This creature, it's having trouble moving around a little bit. The only reason it was able to get a straight-on shot on Captain Pate is because he had a hold of it.
All right, I want to take my pacifist disruptor and just attempt to stun it because I think this creature is worth talking to, but we've got to incapacitate it first. So, I rather than I start to go for my revolver, and then go. I hear that, and I go, no, there's something more we want to find out. So I pull out my pacifist disruptor, and if I can, because we're real close, I mean, we need to be close range. I want to stick it like right on the back of its head and just boom.
Okay, great. You climb up onto the back of it, you put the pacifist disruptor right to the side of its head, and you unleash the pulse.
Yeah.
Let's see if this thing, you know what?
I go, yeehaw!
I'm gonna make you make the shooting attack, but
Okay.
I'm gonna give you, because of this close range, I'm gonna give you an automatic +2 to your shooting attack because of how you've described it, right? You've also taken a risk. You've gotten within its reach and within its, realm of where it could hurt you. So go ahead and roll, and you can add points to that if you wish with your shooting.
I want this to work. I'm gonna add 1 point of my shooting. I also have double tap, but I don't know that really comes into play here. So I'll spend a point with my shooting. Okay, great. So I rolled a 5 +2 +1 for my point, so that's like 8. I think it worked.
So it didn't buck too hard. I mean, you're used to a Bronco like this boy.
Yeah.
So it's like bucking, and you're hanging onto the back of it.
I know just how to like hold on with like squeezing my knees in just the right spot to hold on to this thing.
And so it now has to resist stun. Now, it does not have normal human physiology. So let's see how this goes.
Come on.
It succeeds in resisting stun.
No way.
And by the way, Dakota, you've never seen anything take a pacifist disruptor to the head and keep going. And all this thing does is go. And
What
now,
the hell?
Dakota, who goes next? And by the way, it's a new round, so it could be you.
Oh.
Oh no. Well, now should it be me again? No, I think I'm so surprised. I cannot act immediately. I'm going, what the hell? Why didn't this work? Captain Pate, do something. So I'm gonna say Captain Pate goes.
All right. He looks right into the mouth of this thing, and it says, "We meet again, Captain Pate." He's just like, "Who are you?" And he is gonna reach and get his. He's gonna get his stun. Because he has the same instinct, and he doesn't know right away that this creature might be immune to it. He's thinking that Dakota, it may have been a miss or something like that in the hecticness of the battle. So could he grab this off of his hip while he's like all tangled up with this guy and just kind of jam it into its thorax and pull the trigger?
Yeah, I'll allow it. Absolutely.
Okay. Then he's going to just try a stun. We'll see if it does anything.
He still needs to make a shooting roll. I will give him the same +2 for point blank.
Okay. Shooting +2. I will spend a point here. Here we go. 4. So that's 7.
Yeah.
7 is a hit. Now he will try to resist stun this creature. So the pulse comes out of your weapon right into its thorax. Whoa! Like there's like this thudding, like sort of wave that emanates from your gun. And let's see. Wait. Oh my God!
No.
This time he is not able to resist. And so it's sort of like, and then kind of like goes limp on top of Captain Pate, and it's very heavy, Captain Pate. It's like at least 300 and some pounds. So now this thing is like on top of you, and it's gone completely limp, and it's an enormous cockroach. Like just kind of, its carapace is just kind of sitting on top of you, dripping ichor. And what do you do? This is definitely a deviant to the timeline. It should not be seen
right
by anybody aboard the sub. And you know what? While you're thinking about what you do next, I'm going to allow our friend Imogene Dupree to go if she would like. Imogene, you are unaware of this scuffle because it happened in a closet at another part of the sub, and there's very loud things happening in the sub. The sub is very busy right now. So you are unaware of this attack. So just kind of let me know how you would wrap up or how you would, because as far as you know, mission accomplished. So what do you do?
So I'm with all the officers, with the captain and with the political officer, and we've successfully calmed everything down. And I'm gonna say, I think it's time that we take the risk and surface and recharge our power and get some more oxygen, right? Things are running hot. Let's cool it off.
Savitsky says, but these are not our orders. Are you...
There are orders.
I hear you when I
now.
say today is not the day to die, but our orders are not to surface.
Today is not the day to die. Today is the day to live. And we don't have air. And it's hot. And our men are suffering. And it's time to see the light.
Normally your investigative abilities give you a clue. A spend from one of them can get people to do things if you use an interpersonal ability.
I already used my reassurance. I'm going to use...
Charm?
Yeah, I guess I'll use charm.
I think charm does not work in this case. Do you have anything else?
I have taunt. I have...
I bet you couldn't get it above the water.
Yeah.
You don't even know how to surface, Captain.
Yeah, or streetwise. I don't know how streetwise, like.
I take it back. If you're willing to spend an entire point from charm, I think that in a very friendly way, as a comrade, you can convince the captain it's time to retreat and resurface.
I have an idea. Tell me if this. I'm going to use streetwise. I want to spend a point in streetwise and say, listen, it's Ivan, right? The political officer, Ivan. Look around. Our men are hot. They're sweating. They're stressed out. They've just looked death in the face. Have you ever seen a mutiny before? Because I have. And that's what you have on your hands. If you want these men to not stab you in the back, we need to rise to the surface and get some air.
And of course, the translator is transforming it all into deep-voiced Russian.
Deep Russian.
But I will say, I was gonna say no to Streetwise until I heard that role play, and now I say yes. So it's very low.
You want these people to vote for you or not?
They agree to break command and kind of get the sub out of the area and then resurface so that their men can survive, and they are, thanks to you, a little bit afraid of a mutiny. Imogene, please subtract 1 point from your streetwise.
It's gone.
And now I will say you are returning to the bridge with them so that they can give those orders and start preparations to leave the area. And now I will ask what Captain Pate and Dakota have decided to do with this big bug. By the way, just so you know, you can travel with someone.
That's what I was
using your autochron. You can piggyback on an autochron. That's your portable time machine, which looks kind of like a rod that you carry with you. You extend it, you enter date and time and space, and then you hold it like handlebars. And then, as Imogene told us, the champagne bubbles start to float around you. The champagne bubbles that are time, the time stream, and you enter the time that you've selected. So, what are you going to do, Captain Pate?
This thing hits the floor, so his first reaction is he's bleeding. He's very hurt. He looks down at this thing. It's just like, bloody fucking hell. What is it? Dakota, ever seen anything like this before?
Well, I sure haven't. And man, I tried to stun it and it did not work. Here, let's roll it off you. And I'll hop down off of it and try and push from one side and like push from underneath and see if we can like roll it over. I'll scan it with my tether.
He's bracing his back against the steel wall, just trying to push this thing, roll it. It's like having an NFL defensive lineman on top of you, unconscious.
Oh, yeah, and Dakota just said she's scanning it with her tether. You still have to kind of put in some sort of parameters for what you're kind of searching or analyzing. So what skill are you using, Dakota, to figure out something about this by scanning it with your tether?
Well, I feel like I could justify a few things. It could be science, or I suppose it could be some sort of medical expertise, but that's a little more of a stretch. So I think maybe my science, which I have to say that way because it has an exclamation point officially after the words.
I'll allow that.
Science.
I think that these creatures are sufficiently science-y to.
Look at it, like in my thing, I can type in like keywords, like I'm searching in Google or something. And I'm like, okay, number of legs and. Type mandibles and approximate height and weight and,
Yeah. So you find like this entry in the TimeWatch records, the scientific records, that has a full sort of anatomical schematic of this thing. And it's, arthropod A form A1917. Basically, these creatures have surfaced several times. They are all giant cockroach in kind of form and appearance, and they always try to increase the background radiation of the planet Earth in somehow. TimeWatch theorists theorize, the scientists theorize that they come from an alternate timeline where a nuclear annihilation, nuclear apocalypse eventually led to their evolution.
Oh, cool.
Are they trying to make more? I think these things might be trying to turn our cockroaches into them. If they increase the radiation in our timeline, our cockroaches are gonna turn into these buggers.
Yeah, they'd survive too, wouldn't they? Of course they would. They'd evolve into this.
Everything.
I think we need to get it out of here before anything sees it.
And Captain
you want to
Pate,
tag it?
Captain Pate, I think you're probably having memories of like being on a ship in the 1840s and how weevils would little bugs would infest all of the grain and all of the biscuits on board. And even in like freezing temperatures when the men were dying, the tiny little bugs would still survive inside of the food.
Yep, exactly.
So yes, what do you want to do? Because you're pretty sure that the sub hasn't fired a nuclear weapon, so that's good.
Yeah.
Death is their breeding ground. We have to get it out of here. Maybe I'll take it with me. You collect Imogene.
I'll get her.
Let's meet in where there's dinosaurs, because that would be cool.
What would we normally do? Is there like a jail that we can like teleport immediately to in like the Citadel or something?
You have some options. Well, first of all, you could go back to the Citadel now. The Citadel is your headquarters, which takes place exists rather before the Big Bang. It exists in a space before the universe was created, and the theory is that as the Citadel, the headquarters of TimeWatch, accumulates paradox energy, when it finally accumulates too much, the Big Bang will go off. But so far, that hasn't happened. The Citadel, we will learn more about. I think that's a great idea. Are there coordinates for a cell inside of the Citadel? There absolutely are. I will also tell you that mission protocol states that after you think you have completed the mission, you're supposed to jump a little ways into the future and confirm that your actions were a success. You could do that after you visited the Citadel if you'd like.
Yeah, so how about I say,
I'll take him, drop him off, and meet you back here.
All right,
and then we can jump into the future and make
here.
sure that there's no nuclear strike.
Captain.
Captain. I love it.
Your unobtrusiveness mesh, Dakota, will help you retrieve Imogene without a problem. I do need a time travel test and all. I don't. Not from Captain Pate.
No, you don't, buddy. That's why I was saying I'll just jump.
Yeah.
But I'm about to use them up. I'm about to use all these freebies up.
I'm gonna do you a favor. I'm gonna only count that as one test. I'm not gonna make you test to go and test to come back. That seems excessive. So you jump into the citadel. And for some reason, this often happens at TimeWatch, people are ready to receive you. There's all these guys in hazmat suits who are in this like cell that's got like energy bars, and they all have like all of these like, different tools ready to dissect this thing or like, analyze him. And they see you and they give you a salute, and they get ready to close in on him. Yeah, and they're going to lock him up.
Questioned, knew me somehow, said he'd seen me before. I don't even know if it's a he. I said he by default.
He's going to...
I don't know its pronouns.
I don't know its pronouns.
He's going to... oh my God, this is amazing because I picture like straight out of... I picture like a bounty hunter, right? Like in like 1980s LAPD, like all beat up, like bringing a guy in and just be like, lock him up. And then where's my pay? Like that kind of thing. And then he's just going to jump right back.
Great. So I'm going to go ahead and rule that the three of you are in the corridor of the submarine, and your unobtrusiveness mesh has been damaged slightly, Captain Pate, I'm going to say, by, just for flavor's sake, by being thrashed by this thing.
Yeah, okay.
So Dakota and Imogene, you kind of have to like cover for him as sailors run down the hallway of the sub, but the sub is now set new coordinates to get out of the, the zone of these American warships. Where do you want to go now? What do you want to do now?
So I still look like Vasily, right? Like I'm still in...
Yeah. Your disguise is still intact if you'd like.
Yeah, I told the officers I had to tinkle. And so I went to the head, and it came out in Russian. My translator translated that perfectly to something manly and awesome. But I'm still with as Vasily. So I can use that, my authority, if we get in trouble.
Well, yeah. Can the three of us talk? Like, are we in a place where the three of us can talk?
You certainly can talk, and I'll just reiterate that protocol states you jump forward to make sure it worked.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
My only thought is, where is Vasily?
I was also wondering this. Is he knocked out somewhere? Has he been eaten by this bug? I didn't see him. Did he look like he had lunch?
Do you know, Dakota, do these creatures, do they kill the human before taking its skin, or is it merely a created disguise?
Well, that's a fine question. Let me pull up my my search that I did and see if it says anything. Go back to the search I had done previously.
It does say something. It says that in previous encounters, they wrap their victims in a paralytic mucus.
Yeah, of course they do.
Cocooning them.
Yeah.
And that is when they are able to achieve the psychic connection that allows them to take their form.
All right. So the thing is, he is somewhere wrapped up in a cocoon of psychic mucus. And the thing is we don't know, though, when this bug took control of him. So I say we jump forward, see if what we did here worked, and then I think that we need to figure out...
We need to question it.
Where...
Figure out where he's...
Yeah, where that music
forward... But if we jump forward, and in that time, some sailors have discovered this mucus cocoon, we're going to create a whole new paradox. I think we got to find him right now.
Well, what if he's not even on this submarine? We don't know when this bug took over.
Oh,
might have been before he even got on the mission. I mean, I'm not saying it's a good idea. We should make sure probably that he's not on here somewhere. I was just thinking that we would
check his bedroom. I don't know.
Well, suddenly you hear, I'm gonna solve this for you. Suddenly you hear a sailor go, Commander Arkhipov, what are you doing in here? And the reason you hear this is because the supply closet right across from you, a sailor has entered it and has found an Arkhipov who is like pulling strands of something off of himself.
Oh, brother.
All right. Well, I guess that answers that, and we don't have to... Cool, so should we go? Because I think they're going to start to wonder why there's two of you.
Well, I feel like we have to stun both of them and take them back for reconditioning. They've already seen too much.
You have something in your...
They need to be memmed on. What's it called?
Mem tags.
Yeah, but you have to knock them out in order to do that.
All right. I'll get me, and you get the other guy.
So as they exit the supply closet, you guys are standing there waiting for them.
We're waiting for them. They just like,
Sorry, this is for your own benefit.
stun gun to the mouth.
I'm gonna forego the rolls to attack and a whole combat with people that you just want to knock out and mem tag. You attach the mem tags to them, and as you're watching, they start to shimmer out of this timeline, and then they appear exactly the same. Like they shimmer and then come back immediately, and the mem tags are gone.
Wow. I want to look at Vasily and I want to say, I'm very handsome.
Or at least the guy that played me in the reenactment is.
Or at least the guy that played me in the reenactment. I'm very handsome.
Sorry,
real quick, Paula.
That is done, and you've been thorough. Sorry, go ahead.
What was that reenactment? What are you talking about? Was that something that was
like,
relatively recent or like a long time?
History Channel type, Discovery Channel type.
Like something from the last 20 years.
Here's the story of the man who saved the world, and then they do the reenactments.
You guys can't see it, but Paula on her wall there has a calendar called Hunks of the Discovery Channel. And,
oh, yeah.
And he's Mr. March. Yeah,
he is. He is.
It's a funny thing with I feel like sometimes with actors a Discovery Channel reenactment doesn't have the budget to get a real high level actor, so they end up with just sort of basically face handsome people. Because there's a whole strata of actor who are like, I just am good looking. Is that? And it's you work for scale.
Non-union.
They also don't have to say any lines because it's usually just no dialogue scenes while a narrator dramatically says what's happening. That's send you a link to it later.
Face handsome people. Yeah, I'm gonna need that for my notes for research for later.
For sure, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Well, many extras are rushing back and forth in this sub, and the longer you're here, the more you endanger yourselves.
Let's zip into the future.
Yeah.
Where would you like to go? This is really fun part of TimeWatch. You can literally jump anywhere in the world at any time and year, but protocol says you jump just a little bit into the future to make sure that your mission was successful. So you tell me, somewhere in the United States?
Yeah, I would say somewhere in the United States. I'd say Miami in 2 weeks. Because you basically, because then you'd be past the Cuban Missile Crisis, right? It was only 2 weeks-ish, wasn't right, Paula?
Oh, I don't remember that part.
2 weeks would 2 weeks would get you out of the Cuban Missile Crisis.
Man, I forgot.
Yeah, so let's do 2 weeks, and then we would know if they had de-escalated their arms and stuff like that. So, all right, let's do it.
Okay, so you guys jump forward to Miami 2 weeks from this date. So
September 19th.
This was October, so you're now in November.
Right.
And it's Miami, so it's kind of a cold day for Miami, which means it's kind of in the high 50s, and you see palm trees all around you. You're right in the main drag of Miami in 1962. And the first thing that greets your ears is the sound of an air raid horn.
Oh, no.
And people are rushing through the streets screaming. People are smashing windows to loot the things inside of the businesses. Everyone is panicking and screaming. And as you watch a U.S. Army convoy sort of pulls on up the street, and they're motioning for people to get onto their convoy, and it looks like a nuclear attack is about to happen.
What?
Yes.
I thought we fixed this.
What did we miss?
I did such a good job.
You did do a good job.
Thank you.
You were fantastic.
Thank you. What did we miss? Is this something else?
Well, you could do some sort of research to find out what you might have missed.
Can I run over to one of the military types and and go, please, sir, what's going on? I'm scared. Please tell me what's happening.
Very good. Yeah, you certainly can. And he's like, by the way, this guy is like about your age, so he's like 16. Well, not 16. He's at least like 19 or 20.
Right.
But he's this like spindly kid in a U.S. Army uniform, and he's like, "Just get on board, miss. We'll take care of you." And he's like, "Hold on, I gotta listen to this." And he turns up a radio inside of the cab of his truck, and you hear presidential address. And you hear the voice of Richard Milhouse Nixon going,
"What?
We will not forget the names of those we lose today, and we will avenge them. I have given the order to retaliate against the Soviet Union. We will launch our full nuclear arsenal." And Nixon is speaking, and you can see that the kid is hit with patriotic fervor, even though he's about to be annihilated by nuclear weapons.
Did you choose this so that you could do a Nixon impression? Is that the whole inspiration behind doing this one particular story?
I am not a crook. I am a leader, and I will lead us into glorious... Yeah.
Well, somebody...
Wait a minute.
Yeah.
Nixon's president.
Somebody put him in there. He won the election.
Right. I wonder if he's a bug. I say this to the kid. I wonder if Nixon's a bug.
It looks like a bug.
That guy is definitely a bug.
Now, I can go through the character formality, right? I have a point in history contemporary, which would allow me to know that John F. Kennedy should be president, right?
John F. Kennedy should be president in 1962. He was the one who handled the Cuban Missile Crisis. In this timeline, Nixon has bungled it, obviously, and something terrible is about to happen to the United States.
Okay, so the bugs had a multi-pronged attack. They had a bug as Vasily, and clearly they have bugs elsewhere. We're gonna have to go full exterminator and get these bugs everywhere they are in this
Quickly,
timeline.
get on board, ma'am. Get on board. Come on. We're leaving.
Sorry, we gotta go.
Yeah, thanks so much. Good luck with everything. Hopefully you won't even have to be doing this if everything works out. Remember me, Dakota Blaze. And I'll run over.
And he just kind of looks confused and then gets it back into the cab of the truck and starts pulling away.
Should we?
With a bunch of civilians in the back.
Here's my thought. Maybe we can't do anything about this right now because it's about to go off. So do we travel back now a little bit and try and stop Nixon from bungling this in the first place?
I think we go back to the election.
Yeah.
Somebody, tampered with this election, and we got to figure it out so the real timeline happens.
Yeah, I agree with you, Imogen. What do you think, Captain Pate?
I agree.
There is no reason to think that. I'll do it in character.
The only thing I'm thinking is, who fired the nukes?
Wait, did Russia never fire nukes? And now we're firing first? Is that what's happening?
No, it looks like Russia. The reason there's an air raid going off is because nukes are headed toward you, and he says he's going to avenge. Nixon says he's going to avenge the United States. So
I'm just wondering if our sub shot those nukes.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
And if we miss something there. But in either case, you're right that the election could be a very important point. We could always come back to the ship if we need. To the vessel.
Do we know where these, can we ask where these missiles are coming from? Are they coming from the submarines or are they coming from, like, Russia?
Can we hear on the news? Is there, like, can we go to a TV? Is there, is Walter Cronkite telling us where the missiles are being shot from?
The TV is just like, the picture of the Indian chief with the... Yeah,
there's a storefront with just TVs.
Yeah, but they're all just that weird kind of like off the air kind of image. The radio, though, is still giving news, and you hear, let's say, I hope I have this historically right, Walter Cronkite reporting, and he's saying that Russia fired first.
Come on, where's your Cronkite impression? Get it? Come on.
Oh, God.
Russia fired first.
Russia has fired on... I can't. I'm doing Howard Cosell. These people have fired on us, and So
That's good. I appreciate the effort.
yeah,
I did love that.
A sad day for America, a sad day for the planet Earth. What shall become of all of us? May God have mercy on our souls. This is Walter Cronkite.
Walter, tell
Signing
us
off.
where the missiles are coming from.
We just got the end of the broadcast. Damn it.
I will say that you did learn that Russia has fired first in this particular case, and they fired from the problem with the Cuban Missile Crisis is that they were able to fire from Cuba. So the missiles are coming from Cuba, from installations in and around Cuba.
Captain Pate, I'm glad you stopped us. I think, So maybe we don't need to go and figure out. Maybe Nixon just sucks. He's not a bug. He just sucks. So maybe we need to stop Russia from shooting to begin with. Again.
Right, but
Why would Nixon be president in this timeline? Like somebody messed with that.
well, it's possible that they fired because Nixon was president, so there is some value to this. Now, he doesn't need to be a bug to be an agitator. They could have put the person they wanted in that seat who was set up to do exactly what they needed.
Captain
So let's go
Pate,
to this election. I like the idea. Your first instinct.
in
Always
the
go with your
original
first instinct.
timeline, the correct timeline, remind me, so John F. Kennedy should be president now
He should be
because
president.
Nixon got taken out of office because of scandal. Is that right?
No,
Remind me
Nixon
what
comes in
actually
later.
Nixon ran against JFK
and
lost. Big time.
in re-election because of the scandal.
And then Lyndon,
Maybe
and then
you don't. These are all theories, right? You should. You should check it out. You should go. You should investigate.
Well, we're just
gotta
talking
go
about
to
what the
this
real
election.
timeline was, right? Was that he?
In the real
this is
timeline.
going. Wait, what's real history?
So basically, if I have
I'm
it
pretty
right,
sure,
is
yeah.
JFK beats Nixon in an election. Then Nixon ends up beating Lyndon Johnson in an election, right? Like to succeed the next presidency after. So JFK is assassinated, then Johnson becomes president. Then I think Nixon is right after Johnson.
That's right.
Yeah.
Oh, wow, I feel so dumb. Hey, so if everyone feels like better, I knew about one thing in history, but not the thing that I should know, which is how our American presidents came.
Oh my God, this is so
when
amazing.
Was Watergate? I don't know. Before JFK, after JFK.
Well, yeah, and I'm just picturing, Dakota being like, "But what about Watergate?" Like that's like 10 years in the future.
Dakota's from the year 1900. There's no reason she should know all
wouldn't
this.
know.
No.
Yeah,
Do you have
I
a point in
should've,
history
but that's okay.
contemporary?
Look,
No, I got none of that. I don't care.
The game makes the
that's
point
what we
over and
have.
over. You don't need to be an expert on every single aspect of history, just on the little parts that your adventure deals with. So we don't need to
right.
worry about. I'm glad that we sorted that out, but now we can decide where are we going to go. What are we going to do?
Jared's like, now do something.
I want to go to Washington, D.C. Is the election, 66?
50,
1960.
60.
60.
Yeah.
All right,
1960.
so he's been president for 2 years. All right, let's go.
Let's
go
go
check
to
out that
election day, November, whatever, 1960.
How about
So
how
weird
about
and
this?
cool.
Since our friend Imogene Dupree suggested Washington D.C., the second presidential debate was held at WRC-TV Washington D.C. on October 7th, 1960.
Okay.
I like it.
Oh, well, yeah, I guess election day might be too late, right? If they were already doing it ahead of time. So.
Well, you can go to Election Day. Would you like to go to Election Day? November 3rd,
No, I want to
1960?
go. No, I want to go to that debate.
Yeah,
I want to go to
that
that
sounds
debate.
fun.
Let's go to the debate.
You go to the debate and you go to WRC TV studio, which is swarming with security. Obviously, there are Secret Service men all over the place, just protecting the presidential candidates. And you see a lot of. I'm going to say you clock in. Let's say. Inside the studio, because why not? You can clock in anywhere you want. So you zap in inside the studio, and so far your impersonator mesh is keeping you unobtrusive, back behind some Klieg lights and some
we look
backstage.
like NBC pages.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And there are flats that are kind of like used in TV production, and you're kind of back behind those flats, and you can hear two voices furiously debating the issues of 1960. And one belongs to Richard Nixon. And then, well, now I have to disagree with you there. You hear the Texas drawl of Lyndon B. Johnson. What? Debating him. Yes.
What's he doing here?
What in the blue fuck is going on? Hold on a second.
Oh, I need a time travel test from everybody.
Yeah, don't we need to be rolling?
Yeah.
I purposely wasn't going to bring it up because I'm that kind of player.
We also skipped the last one. Does that matter? The 2-week jump? Or are you giving that a freebie?
No,
I want to.
Why, Joe? I'm so weak on my critical stability.
I'm just representing the audience who's in chat right now being like, you cheaters! You filthy cheaters!
Why did you skip the travel test? What have you done to our children?
I like to cheat. Okay, 2.
I like to cheat.
Well, I failed both of them, so thanks a lot, Joe.
Lose 4 more chronal stability.
God damn it. Okay.
How did you do, Dakota?
My first one's a 2, so when we went to the future, it wasn't great. But when we went back to the past, I rolled a 6.
Lose 2 more chronal stability, Dakota Blaze.
I'm feeling so sick to my stomach.
So now here you are at the presidential debate, and your travel has taught you that the presidential election in 1960 was between Lyndon Johnson and Richard Milhouse Nixon. Now, in original history, from your contemporary history skill, Richard Milhouse Nixon was in the 1960 presidential election, but he was debating Kennedy. Kennedy is nowhere to be found. We're going to take an ad break, and when we come back, we're going to find out, where's John F. Kennedy? He's lost.
Where's JFK?
Where has he gone? We've misplaced JFK. We'll find out where he is when we come back here at Game Garage on the Glass Cannon Network. Welcome back. JFK is missing from history, and our 3 intrepid TimeWatch agents are scouring the time stream to find him. Right now, they are at WRC-TV in Washington, D.C. during the second 1960 presidential debate, and you all are watching from the sidelines where you clocked into, and you can see that traditionally Nixon made a very poor showing in the televised debates because he's Nixon, and he's all jowls, and he sweat a lot. And Kennedy in the true history looked much more handsome and confident. But in this debate, you're seeing that Lyndon B. Johnson looks even worse than Nixon. He's just beady-eyed and sweating and mopping his brow in Texas style. And you can tell Nixon is scoring points on him, and it's likely that he will be winning this debate, and you know that he wins the presidency. So the question is, where is John F. Kennedy? What are our agents going to do to try to find him?
Well, I'm going to pull out my my tether and type in John F. Kennedy birth date and just see if, I guess it's not necessarily like Google. It's going to give me all kinds of information. I want to see if I can find a birth record of John F. Kennedy from this timeline, I guess.
So, that's a great question. Your tether tells you what happened in true history.
Right.
So in order to find out what happened in this timeline, you'd have to go look around. You'd have to go and search birth records in the world somehow.
Right.
Your tether does tell you a lot about John F. Kennedy, that he was born to Joe Kennedy, a businessman, and that he was born in Boston, Massachusetts. That he attended Harvard University after attending private schools, that he eventually joined the armed forces and became a war hero before running for office after returning from his experiences in World War II.
War hero. Was he taken out during war in this timeline?
Interesting.
What if he died in World War II?
Well, instead of speculating, let's get to some records. The library, maybe. Or just the public birth records.
We are in a TV studio. Can we go to like some sort of, I don't know. Do they have like a records or like a microfiche or? It's
1960. They certainly have they have a library of things that they've filmed and shown on the news here at this station. You know, they don't really have records about births and deaths and things like that.
Okay.
In order to find John F. Kennedy, you may have to travel somewhere and go look for him.
Yeah, I think that let's go to Boston.
Boston? To his childhood or to Harvard?
Let's just
Cambridge?
travel in real time. You guys are taking some serious reality hits here.
Oh, you're so right.
I'm saying let's just travel in real time to Boston.
Yeah.
And we could check records there. Also, if I'm not mistaken from history, Joe Kennedy is a very prominent businessman.
Right.
It's like he would be in the news most likely anyway.
Right.
But it might be a little bit more local. You might get more in New England to see if he ever even had a son named John, who tragically died in the war or who was never even born. So let's
let's go to Boston.
I realize that Dakota has 0 in research anyway, so she really is on her tether being like, well, I don't understand. It says JFK
Dakota
should be here.
Yeah.
I don't know how many times I have to tell you. The tether is only one form of history, the real timeline.
Yeah.
All right.
We've had this conversation so many times.
Oh, right. This isn't necessarily indicative of the timeline we are currently in.
That's correct, because of the bug people.
And now the Greyhound bus from D.C. to Boston is accepting its passengers.
Oh my gosh, I could see all like the horned rim glasses and like the ladies on the bus.
And your impersonator mesh has Captain Pate in sort of one of those like Gilligan's Island hats, you know, like
a bucket cap.
Yeah.
Amazing. Oh God, I love it.
Is there like 1960s Western wear?
Oh yeah, there absolutely
is.
Oh my
God.
Wayne, right? Western films were at their height, and so there was definitely a Western type of clothing that was available. So Dakota, you're
up.
Yeah.
You're like fringe, leather and fringe.
It's got, for real, it's got like it's a button up like this, and it's got like a little like flower pattern right here, and then kind of the like stitching that comes down around where the buttons are.
Totally.
And like cuffs, and there's a little bit of just like fringe. It's almost like a less flashy version of what I wore when I used to perform, actually. Yeah, some subtle fringe along the,
So
I'm like, man.
And I'm in a mini skirt.
It's cold when you get to Boston on October 8th. It's cold when you get to Boston, but it's not quite flurries of snow yet, but you can tell that it's threatening, and you may walk into the city and do some research. So you exit the bus station and tell me what skills you're using to find out what happened to JFK.
I will use research.
Great.
And I'll spend a point. Here to try to figure out everything I can about the Kennedy family right now. Like in this timeline, what's going on with the Kennedys, and John being a part of that, obviously, but see if it gets me more information on a grander scale.
So by going to sort of the Hall of Records here in Boston, you find a business license for John F. Kennedy for a barbershop in Southie. What? John F. Kennedy apparently is the proprietor owner of a barbershop in a sort of low rent section of the city. And because you spent your point, I will also tell you that you find a death record for John F. Kennedy's father, Joe Kennedy. He committed suicide in 1930.
What?
What?
What? Oh, the tangled web we weave. What?
Okay. So, I mean, I think something's wrong with Joe's death. I don't think that's how it happened, but I feel like we should talk to John just to make sure we can get everything we know from him and make sure that we don't jump to a time that wouldn't be the exact perfect place to interfere.
I think one of us might need a haircut.
I agree. Let's go.
Does Captain Pate have a full head of hair?
Yeah, it's bushy, like head. It's just a mess. A mop.
I could get this cleaned up, I guess.
We'll go.
Very good. You can actually walk. You can walk across Boston to the kind of more rundown neighborhood of Boston where Kennedy's barbershop sits on a corner. Mm-hmm. It has, the swirling little pole, and it says John's Barbershop. And as you walk in, you see him finishing off on a guy finishing up a cut on a guy who just has like a horseshoe of hair around his bald head. And he turns around, and there before you is John F. Kennedy. He goes, "Why, hi there. Welcome in."
Well, hi there. Amazing.
Oh, ladies, we generally only do men's haircuts, but, I'm not going to say no to two beautiful women who want to come into my barbershop.
And I'm going to lay on the charm. I'm not going to spend a point just yet in case I need it, but I'm going to say, "Oh, I'm not here for a haircut. I'm just here for the view."
Let me show you the whole shop. And you can tell that this is definitely John F. Kennedy because he has a weakness for the ladies. And he's like, here's where and he's like showing you, a lot
great.
Even ladies sometimes like to use some of this pomade cream. I don't know, maybe for a fancy party, you want to fix your hair in a certain way.
Oh, sure. Dad, look, Dad, maybe you could use some of these products. This is my father.
What a lucky man who has two daughters who would help him look spiffy.
They're trying to get me to enter the modern world. Mr. Kennedy, is it?
That's right. John Kennedy, have a seat. I actually have some time right now to spruce you up.
Well, before I sit, I'd like to know a little more about a man who's going to cut my hair. How long have you been doing this, Mr. Kennedy?
Oh,
don't mind him. He's just like this. He just, he has high standards for how he's going to look. So just
That's right. Your experience, sir. How long have you been cutting hair?
I have been cutting hair for about 10 years. You might say it is my calling. I was born to cut hair and nothing else.
It's not a family business. Is this something you started on your own?
That's right. I started the barbershop on my own. I've always taken great pride in my appearance.
And your education?
Education? You need to know my education before I cut your hair?
That's right. Where'd you go to school? Out with it, man.
Went to a local high school here in Boston.
All right.
So now I will actually spend a point of charm because I want to try and have this could be a tricky thing that I'm trying to say, and I don't want him to take offense. So I want to spend a point of my charm to go, well, there's an it's awful nice to see a man who pulls himself up by his own bootstraps, gets his own money to start his own barbershop and not, uses any kind of family wealth, a trust fund or something to open it up. So good on you for that.
That's right. I am an example of the American dream come true. I was born with nothing. My father never had a lot of money, didn't have enough money to send me to college, but look at me now. The greatest success of anybody in my neighborhood.
Oh,
Good for you.
You're so lucky to be so independent. Me, I rely on my father for everything. Do you still have a good relationship with your father?
And he's sitting down now. So if you want to begin the haircut while talking to
you
her.
folks sure do ask a lot of questions, but I understand you're from overseas, so I'll make an exception. Yeah, my father and I we were very close, but unfortunately he passed.
Oh my!
I'm sorry to hear that.
I'm so sorry, and I'm gonna gently place my arm on his shoulder. But just for a second,
He's going to tell you everything, but you know what? He's looking right at Dakota. Actually, Dakota's too young. That's awful. Dakota,
I'm 18,
we're going to go back in time to make Jared unsay that thing he just said.
Yeah, you've charmed him, Dakota. You spent a point, so he's going to tell you everything.
Right.
So he basically says that his father never had a lot of money and lost what he did have in the stock market crash of 1929. And then
He finally admits that he committed suicide in 1930.
Well, it was a tough time.
So do you think maybe if your father didn't make that risky bet or bet on something else in the stock market, he wouldn't have done what he did?
I think that my father had great aspirations for what he would become as a man, but he never got the opportunity to build the capital that he needed. He never became rich, which was his greatest dream.
That's a lot of people's greatest dream, I understand.
I've learned to be happy with what I have. A great barbershop and great clients.
I think I just got something.
What'd you get?
On Wikipedia.
Let's
I don't know.
On your tether, Joe. On your tether.
I know, but I'm just lifting the veil for people for a second. But because I don't know this shit. This is some deep shit. I mean, this is Wikipedia stuff, but let's see. Supposedly, Joe Kennedy said he knew it was time to get out of the market in 1929 when he received stock tips from a shoe shine boy. This is like the legends. I don't know.
Oh boy,
That's
one
funny.
of us can be a shoe shine boy.
Kennedy survived the crash because he possessed a passion for facts, a complete lack of sentiment, and a marvelous sense of timing. Is something he said or somebody said. It's a quote.
Sense of timing.
Oh.
Well, Johnny, it's been lovely talking to you, and I'm so glad you're happy now in where you are, but I'm afraid the rest of the world isn't quite happy with where you ended up. We'll see you soon, Johnny.
What does that mean? You don't want to cut?
You could have been a lot more, Mr. Kennedy, but I only get my hair cut by presidents. Thank you.
I go, hey, just enjoy your life while you got it. And then
We'll saunter out to
weird
discuss.
family of all
Yeah,
three different accents.
I'll knock all of his like barbicide and stuff off the counter, all of his combs as I leave. It's like,
What? What are you doing?
Like,
Get out of here!
what are you
You
doing?
commie pukes! Get out of my shop! You British turd! You're gonna pay for that?
I'm not really doing it. Let's I don't know. I think that so this is a Joe Kennedy thing. And
Dakota, you had a really good idea. I think one of us has got to be that shoe shine boy.
We gotta be the shoe shine boy. One of us has got to be a shoe shine boy. And now I know that you are the man here, Captain Pate, but I don't know if we can make you look like a boy or not. Like a young boy is what I mean. You're old. Look, I'm sorry.
There's no reason it needs to be a boy. Could be a shoe shine anybody. Just someone that tells him to get out that he could trust. And no, I am in no position, as you well know, both of you. I'm terrible at acting like anyone else other than myself.
Okay, well, if you guys have short memories, I was just a Russian man very convincingly for a very important time. So I think I can handle a little shoe shine boy.
I think this is a job for Imogene. Now, I do have a bit of a quandary, though. I know we need to save the whole world in the timeline, but I just feel bad. We're sending John F. Kennedy to... Even I know what ends up happening to him. I feel like we're taking him from a place where he's happy and sending him to his death.
That's correct. He is happy there, isn't he? His simple life.
Can we save the world but leave John right where he is, just being a simple barber man?
Damn it. You must be losing your chronal stability. Again. No.
I do feel awfully sick to my stomach.
You don't have the room to make these ethical choices. Our job is to keep the timeline as it is. It's our only job.
You're right. I
I'm sure there's plenty of people who would be thoroughly uninterested in us changing history so Joe Kennedy got more money. But that's the way it is.
And Dakota, if you ever have doubts again, just remember that some of us will always do our job, no matter what.
You don't want to become the mission, do you, Dakota?
Well, no, that's not what I meant. I just. You're right. I'm sorry. I'll never have these thoughts again.
glad we had this talk, Dakota. Just remember that. Keep it in the back of your mind.
Imogen scares me sometimes.
It got a little over the top there at the end, but what I was doing was actually mechanical, and I want to use my reality anchor on Dakota to give you back 2 points of chronal stability.
Okay.
Nice.
So you get 2 points of chronal stability, and I lose 1 point of reality anchor.
Ooh.
That's so cool. Does that work?
Yeah, it's something that like I'm gonna have to do for both of you guys. It's sort of like my thing, like where Imogene does disguises and you shoot things incredibly accurately. Like I am supposed to help us maintain our stability throughout the time traveling. That's what he's good at.
You're both right. Thank you for talking some sense into me. I just lost sight of it for a minute. I think just had a couple bad trips, honestly, and I really appreciate both of you.
Right.
I'm just learning,
No problem,
good.
Dakota. We're always here to watch out for you.
Now, let's get that bug in Joe Kennedy's ear before the crash. October 28th, 1929.
Yes.
Let's go.
Pull it
Very
up.
good.
That's crazy.
So Boston South Station is busy with men moving back and forth in the apparel of the 1920s. There are people wearing derby hats
Oh my
still
God.
at this period.
Imogen's at home.
Oh, it feels so good.
Oh, you're back. You're back in the era of the flapper. And as you are preparing, you first of all, you make a travel test, and you feel the bubble of time spread around you. You watch as the years fly by you, reflected in strange spherical sort of images, phantoms that fly past you. You feel like you're falling, but never quite landing until the very end when you snap into Boston South Station. And now men in derbies are moving past you. There's the smell of exhaust. You see Model T cars outside, tick, 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 and steam coming off of the rail platform. You're in the middle of, you're off from the main crowd just a little bit in a coat check area. And you can enter and intercept Joe Kennedy at your leisure.
We have to roll, Jared. Stop making me do this.
No, I'm sorry.
I rolled a 6.
Success.
I'm buoyed by the pep talk, the threatening
reality
pep talk
anchor.
I received. Yeah.
6. Okay,
Another
great.
6.
Let's go.
1 for me.
Okay,
My
you
turn
lose.
to fail.
2 chronal stability because you're out of your free tests, right?
That's
From your
right.
grounded booster. Okay, great. So here you are, and as I set the scene, you may go ahead and intercept Joe Kennedy if you'd like.
Can we also, so there's the time, I want to retcon something. There was a time we traveled to Boston and all that. Like during that time, could we have Dakota patch me up? Like, could I get a couple points of health
I
back?
think 24 hours of rest is in order, right?
Oh, okay.
So
that makes
24
sense.
hours of rest means a couple things.
We have
means
a
that
long
you-
Greyhound bus ride,
It means that you have refreshed your athletics, scuffling, shooting, and vehicles.
Ooh.
But nothing else.
Okay, so scuffling totally refreshed the pool.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Okay.
Okay.
Athletics, one more time. Athletics, scuffling, vehicles.
shooting, and vehicles.
But not tinkering.
Not tinkering.
Interesting, and not disguise, which is also interesting.
No.
Okay. That makes sense, though. That makes sense.
And you got 2 health back in that time.
Okay. So I get
But
2
no-
health back without even needing Dakota to roll medic.
That's
But no
correct.
chronal stability, right?
Chronal stability does not come back. You have to, yeah. And Dakota, you could still roll medic and give him 2 points back if you'd like.
Yeah, I would definitely do that. In that time, I think it would make sense to do some patching up.
Yeah.
Roll the 4.
Doing stitches.
Success. Go ahead and give yourself 2 more points in addition to that.
Awesome. So now I'm back to full health.
Never felt better.
All right, great. Let's go. Let's put
Okay.
Imogene in place, and we're just sort of, I guess we're bystanders on this, right? We're just watching.
Yeah, sure. And Joe Kennedy is walking through the train station and walking toward the shoe shine setup. And there is a shoe shine there waiting to take his business. But perhaps Imogene Dupree is stepping in.
Yeah, I'm going to tap the little boy on his shoulder and say, gee, I heard they were giving out, free movie tickets over on, 5th and Main, if you want to go check it out.
What are you using?
I'll use Charm.
Charm? I don't bother spending it. You don't have to spend any points. You just automatically, he goes, free movie tickets for the Nickelodeon? I'm off.
Yeah.
And then he runs off and allows you to take his place. And Imogene, you are in a just absolutely darling shoeshine outfit with one of those caps,
little
floppy
newsboy
caps.
cap. Yeah.
Yeah, newsboy cap.
Amazing.
And knickers. You're wearing knickerbockers.
Sure.
Yeah, and
Got a
so
little tweed vest.
Joe Kennedy walks up and is like, "Can I get a shine?"
Oh, sure, mister. Sit on down.
Oh, God. Putting Mary Lou in the disguise was perfect on our part. This was well done on us, Paula.
Yeah. We'll take the credit for this amazing scene that's about to happen.
So I'm shining up these shoes. So what do you need to look spiffy for, sir? What do you do?
I'm a businessman.
Oh, do you do those fancy stocks and stuff? I don't know how it works, but I sure think it's neat.
Stocks? No, I'm not in stocks.
You're not in stocks? You don't have stocks?
No, I don't have that kind of money.
Oh.
Oh, no.
You're not even going to get a tip for this shine.
Okay. Well, it was my understanding that I was going to convince you to get out of the stock market, but you don't have anything in the stock market.
Why are you asking me these questions?
Don't worry about it. Okay.
Here,
What?
that'll do. And he tosses you a couple pennies and hops off of the shoeshine platform.
Thanks, mister.
Guys, we have an issue.
Well, okay, I'm gonna shout after him. Well, even if you did have any money, take it out of the stock market. Okay, bye. Ugh, jeez.
What happened?
He said he didn't have any money in. He didn't have any money in the stock market. My tip was supposed to tell him to take his money out, but he didn't have any in it.
Actually, according to legend, the shoeshine boy gave him a tip. And that's what made Joe Kennedy go, oh, if the shoeshine boy has tips, I should get out. But that's not really the issue. You've determined the issue, which is that he says he's not in it. Yeah, he's not in it at all.
Yeah, he's not in the stock market. He doesn't have the capital. Something happened.
How dry I am. How dry I am. This guy walks by drinking a bottle of something wrapped in a brown paper bag and stumbles past you here in the train station. Nobody knows how dry I am.
It's the middle of Prohibition, right? Maybe
It should be. It should be Prohibition, so why is he drinking?
Wait a minute.
What the hell?
What is going on?
Okay, I'm gonna stop the drunk man and I'm gonna say, where did you get that bottle?
Nice.
At Calhoun's on the corner.
Calhoun's on the corner, not a bathtub in your backyard? Got it. And I send him on his way. All right, this goes way deeper than we thought. Prohibition never happened. And I bet maybe that's how Joe got his money. Do you think he was he a booze smuggler and that's how he made his capital?
Now we gotta go all the way back to make sure Prohibition happens? Time sure is difficult.
Man, these bugs really set a deep little trap.
Well, I have to wonder, I feel like we're just trying to treat all the symptoms and we haven't quite found the actual cause yet, but maybe it's just about going back each time until we find the root of the problem. I guess that's literally our job description here at TimeWatch.
All right, well, let's look at the tether.
We can just sit down in this train station here. It's a good enough place to do some research. Can we look at the tether and find out when Prohibition was passed and by whom and how it all happened?
Yeah, you're in 1929. It was passed 10 years ago in the year 1920 as part of the Volstead Act.
Volstead Act.
It was championed by, initially, or early on, by an organization called the Women's Christian Temperance Union, which had a number of different leaders that were very vocal about temperance and getting rid of alcohol in the United States.
Man. How to find this. Okay. But what would that have to do directly with Joe Kennedy? Because we're saying he made his money running illegal.
Your tether.
Just a
yeah,
hunch.
if you're on your tether and you're looking things up, it is widely known that Joe Kennedy made his initial fortune as a bootlegger.
What?
Bootlegger.
This is absolutely true. Joe Kennedy, the father of John F. Kennedy, amassed a fortune by bootlegging during Prohibition.
Okay. I didn't see that in Wikipedia.
All right. So.
Must have missed it. All right.
Okay.
So we need Prohibition to happen.
Yeah. Prohibition to
These
happen.
poor bastards.
Or Joe never gets his fortune.
Well, I guess we got to figure out why Prohibition didn't happen. Okay, it was passed. Maybe something happened at the moment of them trying to pass it, and it failed. So maybe we need to go to the day that the Volstead Act was passed.
Yeah,
1920.
wasn't that some event? There was some, I feel like that happened on some weekend or some, I don't know. My AP US history is coming back to me.
Well, would you like to just tell me what a skill you're using and I can give you clues?
Okay.
Right.
We don't have to actually know.
Yeah, I'm sitting here reading Wikipedia, and it's just like just use your
guys
skills.
are all trying to, the players are trying to know when their characters could know just by using skills.
I'm using research. I'm going to use research.
And I have history contemporary. I mean, it's government history, so it seems should be between those two things. We should be able to get a clue.
Yeah. Okay. So, who's using research? Is that Imogene?
That's me.
Imogene, your research involves going over to Calhoun's, and all over, you notice something interesting. All over the bar, there are liquors and bottles that bear the image of an old woman holding an axe, or the image of an axe, and they have names like Mother Carrie's Secret Recipe Whiskey, or Carrie Nation's Own Brew, or, Nation's Best Dry Gin. It appears that there's some sort of persona, some woman that has inspired a lot of different alcohols to be made with her image on it.
The temperance movement. There was a prominent prohibitionist, anti-alcohol and pro-women's voting. She had an axe and she chopped down a bunch of bars. She attacked them. But I thought she was anti-alcohol.
No, wait a minute.
Right,
maybe
so
she's
maybe
the
in
bug.
this timeline, she's
and
pro.
instead of chopping down the bars, maybe she chopped down the other temperance people.
I guess her name was
Boarding
Carrie.
style,
Okay, I'm gonna find her. Carrie. What's her?
Amazing.
Carrie Nations.
Carrie
Nations.
I don't know. Can't find her.
So,
Are we with
that Christian women's Christian temperance? What was that? Women's Christian.
The Women's Christian Temperance Union. And let's not forget that our friend Captain Pate was using his history contemporary. Mm-hmm. And once you have talked to your friend Imogene Dupree, you know from your tether that Carrie Nation was one of the most outspoken proponents of temperance who fought for an end to alcohol in the United States from the 19th century into the 20th century. And yet, for some reason, her face and name now garnish bottles of liquor all over this bar, Calhoun's, across from South Station in Boston.
Maybe she was replaced by a bug. I think we need to go find her.
I know. Every time we turn, it's like, Joe Kennedy's a bug. John Kennedy's a bug.
I'm convinced they're all bugs.
Your tether tells you. Your tether tells you, Captain Pate, that Carrie Nation's first husband died of alcoholism 2 years after they were married, and that she subsequently married the preacher, whose name was David Nation. And in 1900, while she was the proprietor of a boarding house, she had a vision from God telling her to go into the bars of Kiowa, Kansas, destroy them, and God would stand by her.
All right. It's time to go give somebody a vision, I think.
Yes.
Or
Imogene.
to force a husband to drink.
Can you, or to get a dude hooked on bourbon. All right, let's go.
It's for the good of the timeline.
So you tell me where you want to go.
I want to go.
Her husband died in 1869. Do we want to make sure he dies of alcoholism?
Well, her last name is Carrie Nations, which says to me that she did marry the preacher.
That's
true. But maybe she just never had the vision. Maybe, I think, well, look, I don't know what to do, but I think my thought is maybe we go give her a vision. Maybe that vision is us. Maybe it's always been us.
Well, I think we could also go back before that, like to check on the husband dying, because if we go back a little bit before, even if we spend a lot of time working it, like a year or two, we could theoretically, in that timeline, like working her into a fervor against alcohol, you know, like if this guy never dies or something. I could be overthinking it, but
true.
like, what if we go to do this vision, but he never died of alcoholism and she doesn't care about alcohol, or she loves alcohol? I guess we could still be an angel that appears to her and says alcohol is evil.
That's true. We could just
Dakota
slowly
makes a
every
good
day.
point. I mean, Paula makes a good point that her last name is Nation, and she marries him in 1874.
Yeah.
So why would she marry Nation if she never... Oh, well, maybe
Well, we're
she
looking
never
at the
Maybe
married
she
tether.
needs someone to say every day, like,
Right,
it's too bad about your first husband. I guess it's the alcohol that did him in, and plant that idea in her head, every day, long con style.
No, but I do appreciate. Yeah, I'm with your first instinct there, Paula. Like Mary Lou was saying, I forgot that it says Nation on the bottles. This isn't just the tether saying Nation. Like she also married the other guy in this timeline, in this alternate timeline. So
but it was the death of her husband that caused this passionate activism.
Yeah.
Right.
So I
Where
guess
do
we
we wanna
don't know. Well,
When do we want to go?
And, Captain Pate is right. You could go back and spend years kind of prepping and setting yourselves up in the right position. Or you could pinpoint a time, an event that you think would be the time to go to. It's up to you.
Well, okay, hear me out. If we are her vision from God, even if she's not already worked up in a fervor against alcohol, in that vision, we could say, don't you know your husband died of alcohol? You didn't think about that before? That's what he died from. And now I know you're happily married now, but remember he's burning in hell now because of that. And you gotta save him by chopping down some bars. We could say that kind of thing to her,
But what if he never existed? What if they never got married?
Oh boy.
What if he never died?
I'm
traumatized from Joe.
The only date you have in their tether, you don't have like his exact death date, but you have their wedding date and location. So you could check that out, or clock in before it and kind of get to know them, or you could clock in directly after, and check out what's going on there. You also have, according to your tether, the date that she received the vision, June 5th, 1900, in Medicine Lodge, Kansas.
Well, yeah. I mean, here's the thing, though. She didn't just not become an activist for alcohol. She became the face of pro-alcoholism.
Alcohol.
So, like, to me, it's highly unlikely that he died of alcoholism or she was married to it. Even if she didn't become an activist against it, why would she become an activist for it?
Are we in this bar that Imogene did this research in? Or?
Yeah, and in fact, a guy walks up and goes, What can I get you?
Yeah, I'll get a glass of that Nation's special whiskey and I'm sorry, I just had my birthday. It's my first time drinking. Who is this on the? Tell me about this person on the bottle.
You want some of the nation's best? Careful, Missy, that's strong stuff. He pours you a little shot of whiskey, slides it to you. You don't know about Carrie Nation?
Yeah, I do.
She's the greatest drinker that ever lived.
Greatest drinker?
She stopped all the temperance activists, told them to pack up and go home. Why, she threatened them with an axe when they would come after her bars.
Well, she had bars. Do you know what made her want to open some bars? And cheers, thank you. I'm sure I can. And I slam it down and be like, not that strong.
What investigative ability are you using here?
My streetwise.
Streetwise, very good. He's like
perfect.
Yeah.
He says, well, let me see if I remember the story. She had apparently a vision from God that told her that alcohol was good, that it was God's gift to his people.
I think Benjamin Franklin said something like that.
She was kind of a holy roller for booze.
Well, that's
all right.
Interesting.
Okay, I think we have our answer.
But before you go, another one of those whiskeys, please.
He slides one over to you.
Make that 3.
And you notice that the nation's best is quite good.
Nice.
We're going to take something good away from the world again.
I also like the idea that in TimeWatch, drinking on the job is frowned upon, but we're like a crew of 3 that like we drink on the job, and we're like, fuck them.
It's part of the job.
Yeah.
Oh, and you, sir, you have one with us. We're celebrating my birthday.
It's her birthday.
I usually don't drink while I'm working.
Yeah, neither do we.
That's strange.
Bottoms up to Carrie Nation.
The Carrie Nation. And the change she can make on this world.
And scene, because Paula was right. Straight to the vision.
Let's go.
Let's do it. Let's kill that bug that did that vision.
Out of vision of God.
All right. Where do you kind of want to clock into? Do you want to clock into her house? Do you want, according to your tethers, when you look up this vision, it happened early in the morning on June 5th, 1900, in Medicine Lodge, Kansas. Do you want to be inside of her house? Do you want to clock in that very day and time? When do you tell me?
What if we clocked in early, like even weeks early, and like somebody got to know her or something, got to be a friend to her?
Would know just the right things to say
early.
in the vision. Yeah.
Yeah, that feels right. I don't want to leave this up to chance again.
Very good. So we're talking weeks or months early?
Months.
Like a month.
Okay. Very good.
Fine.
So a month early. So we're gonna clock in on May 5th, 1900 to Medicine Lodge, Kansas.
Yeah, we're in my world now.
I haven't forgotten this time. Let me have a travel test from everybody.
That's right. We're smack in the middle of your lifetime, like your actual lifetime.
You leave Calhoun's bar and you go down an alleyway. You activate your Autochron. The golden champagne bubble, as Imogene described it, forms around you, and you feel like you're falling through history. Dakota Blaze, successful in her travel test, but
Home sweet home.
Captain Pate has failed his and
Another
loses 2
one.
more chronostability.
2
How are
ones in
you
a
doing
row.
on chronostability, Captain Pate? You're down you're down to...
I'm at 8.
You're at 8. Okay, not that bad. Imogene is down to 4 chronostability.
And not doing too hot.
How you feeling, Imogene?
Well, I feel like I had a bad oyster. If I'm being honest.
You look a little green around the gills.
Yeah, I'm not feeling too stable, as it were. But I'm gonna be strong. Don't worry. I won't get in the way of our mission ever.
So you are here in Medicine Lodge, Kansas, which even though it is the year 1900,
the feeling of the Old West pervades this community. There aren't, even though cars exist, you see very few. You see that it's a dirt road through the town, and that there are many carriages and horses leading people around, and everything is a clapboard type building. It looks a little bit like an Old West town here in Medicine Lodge.
Heaven.
Amazing.
Yes.
I mean, we don't. I'm so glad we came here.
And Imogene is a little like, it's very dusty, very quaint. I'm a bit of a city girl myself.
The locals can point you toward the preacher's household, David Nation's household, easily enough. You've arrived a month early. I would like for everybody to tell me what they're doing with that month. To tell me the main thing that the goal, objective you're trying to achieve in that month. Maybe it's all the same thing, or maybe each of you is doing a different thing. And since she's very much in her element, let's start with Dakota Blaze.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna maybe try and kind of like offer myself out as a help out people with like their horses and stuff. I've just rolled up into town. I'm just passing through, but I'm here for a little while. I'm gonna help, I'm real good with horses. If anyone needs anything, I'll take care of them, and I'll use that to see what kind of information about Carrie Nations I can gather from the townspeople.
Great. What investigative ability do you think you're using?
I actually think this is a streetwise again, because I want to put myself in with the locals here, and I'll spend a point on this to just make sure I can get the most helpful information possible in terms of what might be the best way to affect Carrie Nations, and also what a good in with her might be.
So you learn a clue about Carrie Nation, but then your point spend means that you've become such a friend to people in this community that they will do favors for you. They will provide you with equipment, or even show up as kind of a tiny crew to back you up in a certain, because you've become a known ranch hand around Medicine Lodge, Kansas. And the clue I'm going to give you is that Carrie Nation's daughter, Charlene, has an affliction. She has an affliction of the mind, but she takes care of it every day with one glass of wine.
Interesting.
And you see, in fact, Mother Nation come into town with her daughter Charlene, and they visit the local saloon, and they pick up a couple bottles to go home about once a week. And you see them once a week do that. So now I will turn to, let's say, oh yes, did you have a question or something?
Yeah, did the townspeople know, is this her daughter from her first marriage or her second marriage?
This is a daughter from, I hope I'm being historically accurate, from her second marriage.
Okay.
And so let me ask, Imogene Dupree, what are you doing with your month here in Medicine Lodge, Kansas?
Well, I'm going to go straight to the source. I'm going to use my charm to get in to the saloon and be a saloon girl.
Oh, very good. Excellent. And you're just kind of doing it to get a clue. Is that correct?
To get a clue, and I want to be there, ingratiate myself now that I know that Carrie Nation and Charlene Nation go there every week. I think I'd like to, get to know them, what kind of wine they drink. And
very good.
Yeah.
So
investigate that a little more.
Here's your clue. The preacher David Nation comes in a couple times a week. And he takes a drink of whiskey on the rocks, and he sucks it down, and then he says, "Well, that'll do it for me. One's enough, and you never want to go overboard." And then he heads back out of the saloon. So every time you see him, he drinks extremely responsibly. He comes in the next week, and he's like, "Just one, and not a drop more." And they pour it for him. And he takes it and he goes,
Ah, that's the good stuff I like. But now I'm done, and back to my wife and daughter. And he heads out again.
Well, I have a seed of a plan fomenting, but I don't want to initiate without considering my teammates' opinions.
I have a thought as well, and I wonder if our thoughts are somewhat similar. But
Captain Pate, you're in the hotel with Dakota and Imogene. Would you like to hear their plan, or would you like to go ahead and tell me what you do with your month?
Yeah, I'll say with his month, I think in this room, he's really relying on the two of them to kind of handle this part of the job. He doesn't really want to interact with anyone of substance to the mission right now, currently, because he's just not very good at it. He doesn't want to blow anything up. So he's trusting you guys to handle this. And what I would like to spend my month doing is maybe posing as a British a journalist who's coming to the American West to write about it, right? For British readers or whatever. And it's really just a thinly veiled, what he wants to do is dig into any and all of the local sort of libraries and records and stuff that he can find during this time. And he just wants to totally focus his research not on Carrie Nations, but on if anything else is funky in the timeline right now, or if it seems like everything is right until now, and something now is what's off, because he wants to be prepared if we need to jump back again. All we've been doing is jumping back and back. We keep finding out something that was wrong before. Now maybe we'll find that out again because it's specific to this woman, but he wants to see if the president is correct, if Teddy Roosevelt is alive, if right. All those kind of things are falling into place in 1900. If McKinley is president, I think he was president in 1900.
Great. Is he using his research skill to do that?
Yeah, research.
Okay, yeah. So you spend a month just making sure that everybody is where they should be in the year 1900. And so far, so good. William McKinley is president. He hasn't been assassinated yet, but that's supposed to happen. He hasn't been shot yet.
Or is it in 1900? I think it's in 1901, maybe?
I think it's in 1901. So, everything seems to be cohesive and where it should be up to this point. But of course, you're working with the records in Medicine Lodge, Kansas. You're basically reading a lot of old newspapers and things like that to kind of keep track of it.
But he has time. He might travel to Topeka. Or, right. Something a little larger and look into their records and
he does that. And yes, in every place he goes, he finds that things seem to be on the rails as they should be until this time.
This is so good. I love this game so much. I'm having a blast.
I know, it's such a mystery.
It really is gosh, this has been such a puzzle. I think we're doing it. And
now he's sitting in this room with you two, and he gets you up to speed that
it looks like it's here. Something now could be her, divert the entire timeline. What have you found out?
Okay, so we know from our experience that both Carrie's daughter and Carrie's husband receive very positive benefits from a very moderate amount of alcohol. I don't know if that's what it was like in the real timeline, but so far, she doesn't have any predisposition against alcohol. I think we need to sacrifice the husband and the daughter on the altar of alcoholism to get Carrie Nation to change her tune.
We are on the same page, Imogene. I was thinking maybe, because you work behind the bar maybe sometimes at the saloon, maybe you could do something to the wine we're giving to Charlene, make her sick, and then maybe we get Mr. Nations. David, thank you. David Nations, maybe we get him a little too drunk one day. Maybe we push his limits. Maybe we see what happens. Maybe he doesn't come home one night. He's not being very responsible.
Maybe he doesn't come home several nights.
Yeah. So I think, I hate to do it, but I think it might be what's necessary.
We have to do what we have to do.
That's right. For the good of the timeline. I put my hand in the middle of the table.
and it lights up green.
Are we doing this? Oh, I love a handshake. Okay, for the timeline.
For the timeline. Captain, come on.
Captain.
Join us, thank you.
For the good of the timeline.
For the good of the timeline.
For the good of the timeline. I love that.
Yeah.
So, what's first? Are you going to try to poison Carrie Nation's daughter, or are you going to try to get the preacher David Nation drunk?
All at once. I want to hit her where it hurts.
Yeah.
And then hit her when she's down. I wanted to take care of her sick daughter all night long, and her husband doesn't come home because he's getting drunk at the bar.
I'm going to rule that it's the day. It's taken you this much time to get prepared and settle on this plan. So it is June 4th, 1900. The next morning, Carrie Nation is due to receive her vision. Okay, and on this day. The family makes its weekly trip to the bar here in town, and as they are in the bar, David Nation is having his glass of whiskey, and Mother Nation and Charlene are buying their wine to take home. And you tell me what you do.
So I don't have any points in medical expertise or survival. So. Maybe Lil Dakota can tell me what herbs or tinctures or poisons that I can slip into this bottle of wine.
What I want, is just something that I think I would know from my medical expertise, and I will spend a point on medical expertise to do this. That we can get into this bottle of wine that is just gonna. What is that thing that makes you throw up when?
Castor oil.
Ipecac.
Yeah, or like Ipecac. That's what I was thinking of. Put some of that in there so that when she drinks it, she just vomits. I want her to throw up until she feels like she's gonna die, basically.
Okay, very good. And then what is there another part of this plan?
We gotta...
And where is Captain Pate?
Okay, well, I had an idea for you, Captain.
Yes. What is it?
So... if the girls, we're on David, right? And the wine bottle's on Charlene. Captain, you gotta be the voice of God.
Yeah. Oh, that's good.
Me?
Yes, you can do it.
Captain,
we believe in you.
You have to be.
I couldn't.
Listen to your voice.
Course.
You got it naturally inside of you, Captain.
Look at the lines on your face and your bushy white hair. You have gravitas.
I cannot
You have
impersonate.
authority.
I cannot impersonate something so sacred.
I mean, I also imagine that he's a Catholic. You know what I mean? Like, or like a
Well, he'd be.
Does
he might
everybody
be
that joins
Church of England.
TimeWatch? Yeah. Does Protestant, right? So does
Protestant,
everybody
yeah.
that joins TimeWatch like stop being religious? Do they write that in the book? Do they say anything about that?
It doesn't say on any page everybody stops being religious. I think that that would be up to you and your character.
Well, I would say that he
spirituality
doesn't.
is a very personal thing.
Yeah, I would say that he doesn't stop being religious, and that
Pate.
he struggles with this for a minute.
Listen, don't think of it as impersonating God. Think of it as allowing God to speak through you.
I mean, how many times did people see visions of angels that gave messages that changed the timeline? Captain, today you're just an angel.
That's right.
Well, I don't like it, but I understand your point. And as I said to you earlier, perhaps we have to do what makes us uncomfortable to preserve the timeline. I'll do it.
We also
I'll try
might need
anyway.
your strength. If a bug is going to come down and give her a false vision, we might need you there and
take him out.
Tomorrow, I'll also maybe set myself up. This is thinking ahead a little. I'll set myself up with a gun, maybe get ready to like shoot something if it comes and tries to give the false vision. But that's something maybe to think about tomorrow as well.
All right.
So, I will now narrate. Stop me if I'm getting ahead of myself, but I'm going to narrate what happens. Using your point spend for medical expertise, you make the essence of Ipecac, you put it into the wine bottle and then reseal it. Carrie Nation and Charlene go home with that bottle of tampered wine. Meanwhile, our friend Imogene Dupree is trying to feed one glass after another to David Nation. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay.
And I'm using
Imogene,
my charm. I'll spend a point.
Spend a point of charm,
I'll spend
and you're
a point.
you're going to learn something very troubling, Imogene.
Don't tell me that.
He drinks 1. He drinks 2. He drinks 3. He keeps smiling at you.
He's a bug.
He drinks 4. He drinks 5. And he goes, well, that'll do it for me. I sure do love that great whiskey. Have a nice day, everybody. And then he begins to walk out without at all wavering, without at all stumbling. He begins
Told
to
you
walk.
one of them was a bug. I knew someone would be.
Stop right there, mister.
He stops and is like, can I help you?
Don't take another step, pastor. Or should I say, roach? Show yourself.
He still looks like a man with like graying, windswept hair. The apparel of a parson from the turn of the 20th century. But he's now chittering at you, and he goes,
Where is Captain Pate?
You don't need to know. You're dealing with me.
And he stomps forward, and people in the saloon are kind of like looking like, what the hell is going on? There are
How many people are
4
in there?
people in the saloon. It's like the middle of the afternoon.
Where's Lil Dakota? Is she with me?
Yeah, we said that she was in the bar having just tampered with the bottle of wine.
Right, good. Because I know the townspeople love you. So maybe they'll come to our aid if we get into trouble here.
Oh, that's such a good idea. Why didn't I think of that?
He goes to unbutton his top button and then pulls his skin off. And an enormous cockroach lurches forward, and it's like its legs weren't even in his arms. It's like fully a giant vermin. Now I'm gonna rule. Captain Pate, are you there? Or did you already go to the house to get ready?
I think he's staking out the house to get.
Yeah, I think you are too.
I don't think he's there.
You are watching in the house as Carrie Nation's like, now drink your wine, dear. You know that it keeps the demons away. And Charlene says yes, and pours a big glass of wine and takes a big gulp of it, and then just smiles and goes, I feel better now, Mother.
No, they're all bugs!
So, Carrie Nation gives her a hug, and something is happening at the house. Captain Pate, would you like to do anything after seeing this?
He's trying to think on his feet fast here, which Joe is terrible at.
Yes.
And he's like, they should be taking care of the father, not thinking the father's a bug. He shouldn't be coming home at all, but he's identified the daughter as a bug. Okay. He's gonna go in. He's gonna go in.
Okay. Great. He enters the house, and immediately the 2 women come and confront him, and Carrie Nation's like, actually, this is before she's had her vision, so
oh my
but
God.
there does happen to be a hatchet hanging on the wall among their other tools, and she goes, what are you doing entering someone's house without knocking, boy? She's, by the way, not a little woman.
Toe to
And
toe.
her daughter sits there going, Mama, who is this man?
Stay your hand, faithful servant of Jesus Christ. I come with tidings of terrible news. You have been infested. A demon resides here under your own house, and I've been sent by the Lord himself to save you from this menace.
And he turns exaggeratingly and points to the daughter.
And is like, reveal yourself, demon!
Mama, why is he shouting at me? And Carrie Nation goes, you better have proof that you're from God, or else I'm about to know you're from Satan.
Shit. He's just going to say,
Did you require proof to believe in Jesus Christ?
And I'd like to spend a point of authority to just like reverberate over her and just sort of like overpower her with his like presence, basically.
Okay, if you're spending a point, then I'm going to rule that both Carrie and her daughter get down on their knees. And Carrie's like, please, we don't understand. Please, what are you trying to say to us? Please, show us.
I need to make sure a demon has not infested this child.
And he is going to just like stamp over to the daughter. Fuck. And he's just going to try to pull the bug out, basically. So
How?
He's going.
What's he using?
Oh my gosh!
He's using. He'll use a stun gun on her.
Okay, he'll use his pacifist disruptor.
But he'll like hide it like under his sleeve, right? So and from the mother. So it looks like even if it works, it'll look like he just like made, as an angel, he touched her and she fell or something.
He has 0 burglary, right? That would be how you kind of hide something.
Oh, that's good.
I think that unfortunately she's going to notice, which is a terrible paradox, but that's what mem tags are for. You make your shooting roll, and you can go ahead and make it +2 since you are. She's faking.
How about? Wait, what am I rolling?
I was gonna say shooting, since you're using a disruptor beam.
Okay, is this an area where I can bring my flashback in?
Yes.
Okay. So could I
So you have preparedness 8, which gives you the booster flashback, which allows you to narrate something that we have not yet generated as true in the fiction. Go ahead.
Okay, so what I want to narrate is like that Dakota helped me with her tinkering to rig my pacifist weapon to be like tied to my arm under the coat, because we knew there might be a moment where I'd have to like stun a and
so now it's like
worshiper.
You're laying on hands.
Exactly. Like the
power of
spirit
Jesus.
of God. Yes.
If you're using your booster, don't even bother with a shooting roll. The pacifist goes off just as you say it should, and let's see how Carrie Nation handles that.
Oh God.
Don't resist. Come on.
Don't resist.
Don't resist, because then we got no answer.
Boom! You hit her. Carrie Nation goes, no! Charlene hits the ground and then gets back up. But as she is getting back up, she's ripping open, and an enormous insect is tearing out of her. Carrie Nation is screaming. This is more than smashing bottles in a bar. She can't handle it. She's like, kind of trying to get out of the way. And now we enter a combat scenario, and even though the combats are happening in 2 different locations miles away, I think we can go with one initiative order, and I'm going to allow our friend Dakota to be first. Remember, their first thing to do is say who goes next. And then the bugs, even though they are miles away from each other, will still go on the same round, okay? So here we go. Dakota, what do you do? You're in the bar, and David Nation has just revealed himself as a bug. What do you do?
Well, I'm hoping if you can tell me if this is, you'll tell me if I can't do this. I'm hoping that if what I do is successful, that the townspeople who are in the bar can go next.
Oh, excellent. Yes, they can. Would you like to, they will go after you.
I would like to call in my favor and go, everyone, look at this monster. I don't know what's happening, but we gotta do something. Pull out your arms, band together, and let's rid this scourge and maybe all the alcohol from this town. And I'll pull out my revolver that I keep wanting to call a rifle. I'll pull out my revolver and encourage them to do the same. To threaten the bug.
You're going to threaten him, or are you going to shoot at him? You can just threaten if you want.
No, I'll shoot at him.
Okay,
yeah, if I can convince them and shoot, I will.
Give me a shooting test and tell me how much you're spending on it.
I'll spend 2.
Okay, very good.
Which I only rolled a 2, so that means it's a 4.
A 4. A 4
Yeah.
is enough to hit. Now you can do your damage.
Damage mod 1 or stun. So I do just a +1 to this roll.
For your
that
6
means?
shooter, 6 shooter should do maybe a little more than that, actually. Let's see here. Nope, that's right. A +1. That's correct.
5 total.
5 total damage. And it blasts the bug, and you can tell that it's made a little bit of a singe on its carapace, but it didn't really take it down a notch. It's like very angry now, chittering madly at you.
I have double tap. Can I use that?
Yes,
here?
your difficulty
Yes.
goes up by 2.
Awesome.
Okay.
Meaning that you now need to hit like a higher difficulty, but yes, you may.
Can I spend again?
You
On my-
certainly may.
I'll spend 2 more
Okay.
and hope that I roll a little better.
No.
What'd you roll? What'd you roll?
1. So I think my gun. I don't want to cause myself any trouble here, but maybe I don't know, something happened. This is not normal for me. I don't miss.
Well, that's okay. You did a lot. I mean, be proud. So
Dakota's
you
mad at
shot.
herself.
You shot and you hit, and then the second shot goes wide because the thing is fast. It skitters quickly and it dodges your bullet. But now the townsfolk who trust Dakota with their lives, they all pitch in. And let's see how many of them, how many of the 4 actually have firearms. I mean, they're out in the middle of Kansas. All 4 of them have
Yeah, that's right,
firearms.
they do. This is
The
the Wild
bartender,
West,
the
baby.
bartender who
Bless
you've gotten to
Kansas.
know, the bartender who
He's
you've
got a
gotten to
shotgun
know,
under the bar,
whose name
yeah.
is Cleavon. Cleavon pulls a rifle down off of the shelf, and they all start attacking. Here they go. Let's see. No. Yes. Yes.
Yes.
No. So 2 and no, nothing. There we go. One of them, only one of them managed to actually really hurt. Both of them hit, but only one of them managed to really hurt him. These things are covered in an armor-like carapace, and the shots are... Oh, and by the way, they declare that the next person to go will be... They declare that it will be... Well, they're going to do something with your best interest at heart. So they're going to declare that the bug goes first. Okay? So the bugs will go next. And then the bugs on their turn, they declare that Captain Pate will go next. So bugs in both locations will go now, and the one that was just shot by Dakota charges forward, leaps on her, and attacks with its pincers.
No.
Oh my god.
Dakota, your hit
hard to hit.
threshold is a 4 because you're hard to hit. Here it goes. It hits you. And it does 7 damage to you.
Oh my.
I'm very hurt. Dakota cries out in agony from this.
A giant
hit.
cockroach is basically sitting on Dakota's chest, has her up against the bar, and is trying to rip her to shreds. Meanwhile, at the Nation household, a giant cockroach attacks Captain Pate. And this cockroach succeeds.
Oh, no.
And it does 4 damage.
Okay.
And it's smacking at you. It's trying to smack you with its clacking, hideous pincers. And it declared Captain Pate would go next, correct? So it is your turn, Captain Pate.
Okay. And I will declare that Imogene will go after me. Right?
Okay, great.
That's how that works. All right.
That's
so
how it
we'll
works.
kick it over to Imogene after. Oh my god. Okay. He's gonna step back, trying to. So he gets slashed and he's bleeding, which like an angel shouldn't do, but whatever. Say, this is such heresy. But he's like, I have become flesh to ward this creature from this place. He turns like for a moment just to give Carrie Nations this moment of hope that this helps, because it's also huge that like she has to get out of here, right? Like it's good to see this, but she has to get out of here. And he just turns to her and he's like, "Flee! You are now seeing the clash of angels and demons in the flesh. You cannot be here to witness it. It could kill you, but go forth and speak of what happens when you consume alcohol." he pulls from his waist something he actually has on him, which is his saber. Like the saber, like his officer's saber, he never let go of, even when he went into TimeWatch. So right. I would call it like by the rules a machete, which is just it's a +1 to damage, but it's like a classic like officer's saber. But he holds it up, and then he will go to the demon and try to attack.
Okay, great.
The bug. He calls it a demon for her benefit.
And as Captain Pate rushes forward with his saber and brings it down on the cockroach, that is where we will stop for today.
Oh, why is it always on my attack actions?
We will get the climax of this adventure and then possibly a new adventure in our next episode. So thank you to my incredible players, Paula Deming, Mary Lou, and Joe O'Brien. We will conclude this hatchet and axe portion of our adventure very soon. Thanks, Glass Cannon Naish. See you next week.
Thanks, everybody. Bye. Good night.
Stressed out.